Life is a miracle. You developed from a single cell to a fully fledged human baby over the course of 40 weeks. All of this happened when you were still in your mother's womb. But traditions are about to be changed because there is a way babies can be developed and born with just an artificial womb. A cutting-edge device that exactly replicates and even improves the womb environment. So, what would happen if we could give birth using these artificial wombs and bring infants into the world using futuristic technology? Welcome to AI Science. Join us today as we explore the details of the artificial womb, how it is developed, how it works, and so much more. Artificial wombs aren't sci-fi anymore. You probably have no recollection of your formative months in the womb, but it's safe to say that you came from a good old-fashioned womb. What if you were conceived in a cutting-edge artificial womb? It may, for example, provide a fetus with a fully optimized environment in which to develop, complete with a well-calculated formula for hormone and food requirements. In addition, the fetus would be protected from infectious infections. Artificial wombs would make it possible for homosexual male couples and lone males to conceive children without the use of a human surrogate. They would also allow transgender women, women who were born without a uterus, and women who had a uterus removed due to medical issues or traumas to have children. Successful experiment of artificial wombs and birth. Dr. Alan Flake, a fetal surgeon at the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, conducted an experiment in 2017 using an amniotic sac, sometimes known as the biobag. This was utilized to provide a protein and nutrient-rich blood flow to lamb fetuses that had been immersed in a sterile solution. 8 fetal lambs continued to develop inside what appeared to be giant Ziploc bags scattered with tubes of blood and fluid, much like they would have inside their mothers. According to a new study that takes the first step towards an artificial womb, their lungs and brains expanded. They sprouted wool, opened their eyes, wriggled around, and learned to swallow over the course of 4 weeks. This gadget may one day be used to help bring premature human babies to term outside the uterus, although it has only been tested on sheep so far. It's attractive to envisage a world where babies are grown in artificial wombs, removing the health risks associated with pregnancy. However, Alan Flake warns about getting ahead of the statistics. Flake also stated that it is total science fiction to believe that an embryo could be taken and developed through the early stages of development before being implanted on our machine without the presence of the mother. Instead, the goal of constructing an external womb, which his team calls the biobag, is to provide a more natural, uterus-like environment for infants born months too early to develop in, according to Flake. The biobag may not look like a womb, but it has the same key components: a clear plastic bag that encloses the fetal lamb and protects it from the outside world, much like the uterus would. As they develop outside their mothers' bodies, the infants require a lot of help. Mechanical breathing, medicines, and intravenous nourishment and hydration are required for newborns who survive delivery. Even if they survive the intensive care unit, many of these infants will experience a variety of health problems as a result of their organ systems' stunted development. Artificial wombs have their own demerits. On the other hand, we have to wonder if employing artificial wombs has any drawbacks. Society would be besieged with debates if artificial womb deliveries became available and affordable. Ethics, science, technology, politics, religion, societal structure, and economics would all be thrown into a pot of never-ending debates. An artificial womb, according to Dr. Sanjay Chawla of Detroit Medical Center, cannot replace the maternal effects of labor or the placental influences of hormones and biochemical signals. Furthermore, if artificial wombs are employed incorrectly or for the wrong purposes, we may be in for a dystopian nightmare. It may lead to baby factories, where children are mass-produced and sold. As the number of infants born in the artificial womb increases, a serious schism in our society may emerge. Is it fair to apply the same standards to children born from a mother's womb as we do to children born from flawless artificial wombs? What happens if something goes wrong throughout the pregnancy? Would the rich choose to forego the hazards of natural wombs in the favor of artificial ones? It's certainly a lot to consider. The possibility of fully functional artificial wombs. The Eindhoven University of Technology is already conducting research. The university is working on a means to offer artificial incubators for babies, those that could be used to mimic the biological conditions of a womb. An artificial placenta attached to an umbilical cord would provide nourishment and oxygen to the babies in this way. If everything goes according to plan, the study will last 5 years, after which human babies will be involved. They will have everything around them in the artificial womb that they would have in a natural womb. Whatever happens, there will undoubtedly be some ruffled feathers. However, if we use this technology to help premature infants survive, the concept becomes noble. Birth pods for the development of premature babies. Then there's the concept of birth pods, which are developed expressly to care for premature babies. Every human fetus needs roughly 37 weeks to properly develop inside the mother's uterus before giving birth. However, not every baby is born with this biological advantage. Every year, around 15 million fetuses are born too soon, and almost 1 million of them die as a result of birth difficulties. A developing fetus must spend at least 24 weeks in the womb before being born. If the fetus is born before that time, the chances of survival are reduced. Even if the fetus survives, it will almost certainly develop lung problems and suffer long-term brain impairment. Although baby incubators exist and boost the odds of survival, they have limitations. Incubators are unlikely to work if the fetus is born before 22 weeks. An upgraded version of the baby incubator is the artificial womb. It also claims to eliminate the problem of preterm births. But how does it function? The growing chamber, which houses the fetus, is the centerpiece of the artificial womb's design. It recreates the same milieu that the mother's uterus provides. The incubation chamber maintains the ideal temperature and humidity for the fetus's development. Another container ensures that the fetus receives a steady supply of oxygen-rich blood until the moment of birth. The amniotic fluid, which surrounds the fetus inside the mother's uterus, is pumped into the artificial womb. This liquid is high in the nutrients that the unborn fetus needs to survive inside the womb. Advanced sensors and artificial intelligence are also included in the growing chamber. During the development process, these sensors monitor the fetus's vital indicators, which include breathing and heartbeat. The artificial womb also has a screen that shows real-time information about the fetus's development. The fetus is kept in this growth pod for 9 months until it has completed its development. Ectogenesis is the process of developing babies in a controlled environment. Ecto refers to the outside world, while genesis refers to the process of creation. It's not exactly new. The artificial womb has been around since the early 1950s. Existence of the concept of artificial womb in history. Emanuel Greenberg patented the artificial womb for the first time in 1955. He came up with the idea in the hopes of assisting premature babies in continuing to develop after birth. Because baby incubators were already in the market at the time, no one bothered to construct a prototype of an artificial womb. Researchers from Tokyo University's medical department examined the artificial womb in the 1990s to determine if it worked. By caesarean section, they separated the goat fetus from its mother. The young goat baby was then placed in a rubber womb filled with artificial amniotic fluid and delivered 17 days later. In 2002, scientists used cells taken from the uterus to create miniature artificial wombs. Embryos were able to attach themselves to the walls of these lab-made wombs, as if it were a natural process. Despite the fact that the embryos started to grow and develop, they were killed 5 days later, owing to ethical concerns. The true artificial womb is currently little more than a plastic bag filled with amniotic fluid. It may not appear to be much, yet it accomplishes its goal of allowing premature embryos to develop outside of the mother's uterus. Even while the artificial womb's primary purpose is to keep premature newborns alive, it might also be used to develop the ideal human being. We can remodel ourselves to be more disease-resistant, more intelligent, and more attractive by creating a human being from the ground up. Designer babies or designer humans are born in this manner because they have been customized and designed by another human being before their birth. You don't need anything complicated to make the ultimate designer baby from scratch. All you need is a skin cell. It makes you wonder what else we could artificially manufacture. Perhaps once we've exhausted the Earth, we'll need to build an artificial planet to host humanity. What are your thoughts about this futuristic technology? Do you think man-made wombs can be better than the real womb of a mother? Comment below.